Let's go. Welcome back to another episode of the MVP Fantasy Football and Sports Podcast. My name is Tyler Johnson, and with me, as always, is Ryan Elke. Ryan, we just got done with week 2 of the NFL season, and it is sure to impress. We've seen a lot of good games coming in from week 1, week 2. Kind of our Thursday night games haven't been too impressive, but there are some hot flying quarterbacks out there, and I know you played one in the I think you single-handedly lost to Mahomes this week.
I did.
So he's fun to watch. He can throw
Actually,
a lot.
You know what I really lost on? Honestly, what I lost
defense.
on was that James White garbage passing, receiving touchdown. That's what I lost on.
So I lost by 4.
So
They're up 30-some-nothing. 2 minutes to go, and they did a screen pass to James White, and he took it 15, 20 yards for a touchdown. So
yeah, it came out of the wire for Odell Beckham getting at least one more catch, or Baker throwing
on Monday night, and I lost by 3.
Oh jeez. So we've all been there. We've all been to those sweat out games, and I know that in that league you have the most points scored against you, and then I'm number 2 on that list. But we'll see. As the weeks go on, we've been making a lot of trades. We're very active in that league, so we definitely want to talk about what is going on. There's plenty of trades going on. What we're going to do, and it's kind of something that we had read as a comment, is trying to cut down our segments a little bit more bite-sized. If we can get our segments down to maybe like a half hour, and then we can maybe squeeze in one more during the week if we have time. And instead of doing 2, maybe we do 3, or we just keep it at that 2. We want to make sure that we're able to give you guys the information in a timely manner, and then also be able to have it to where you can sit down, listen to it real quick, and you don't have to spend a huge chunk of your day. So today we're going to kind of test that out. I know that it is already Tuesday, so waiver wires are going to be put into motion tomorrow. If you're listening to this now, we're not going to go over too many of the waiver wire pickups, and if you hear this, there really isn't too many crazy waiver wire pickups.
There hasn't been yet, though.
No.
All the years past that I can remember, there's been literally league winning guys that have been picked up in the first couple weeks, and this year, so far, nothing. I mean, this potential guy is Darwin Thompson's on the waiver wire right now, but it looks like the injuries to the running backs ahead of him are not severe, which is good for them, but it's still a guy to definitely, you do want Darwin Thompson, and this time probably just hold him. Because Shady McCoy is injury prone, and then Damian Williams he's not really that effective. So,
and we're going to, and then in our questions, so we're going to do Q&A at the end, and just kind of a sneak peek of what we're going to be talking about is handcuffs. So just like Ryan was talking about Darwin, we're going to talk about the highest rated handcuffs that me and Ryan believe should be on every team, and then we're also going to be talking about running back handcuffs, and then we're also going to be talking about if you have that waiver 1 pickup, what you should use it on, and what we believe, what the strength of that having that number 1 waiver wire pickup is compared to what your team looks like. So we're going to start off with the news, and then we're going to go straight into questions, Q&A. People want answers on what to trade, what their values are for players, and we're here just to kind of sit back. We're going to relax and answer a lot of these trade requests, waiver claim requests, and just people's questions in general. It's good to know. It's good to know where your player's value is at, and then also it's good to know about the news. A lot of injuries. Who's getting affected?
The NFL just needs a whole new training staff for each team or something. This is crazy.
It's insane the amount of injuries that we're seeing, and I mean, there's some big names. Yeah,
that's what it is, dude. It's big name players.
Well, let's jump right into it. We're gonna go into the news.
So you got any advice for me? Generally.
And begin with kind of the 2 biggest ones at QB. We have Drew Brees, torn ligament in his thumb. He's going to have surgery, and he's going to be out likely 6 weeks. I can see it being 6 to 8 weeks, possibly going on the IR. This is going to hurt. I mean, they do have one of the better backups, I believe, in Teddy Bridgewater. He did show flashes before he got injured.
Man, I think he's useless. I'd rather have them use Taysom Hill, but you got to give Bridgewater an actual game, a full game, to see what he's all about here.
Yeah, and you want to know what? Bridgewater turned down a lot of offers to start on other teams last year, and he wanted to stay, and now he's getting the opportunity. So I guess we're going to have to see what he has and what he represents as a starting quarterback in the league, especially for the next 6 weeks. So it'll be interesting. I definitely am excited to see the team with a different quarterback because, I mean, the Saints have been led by Drew Brees for how many years, and he's been very solid for staying healthy or playing through injury. And a lot of people on this team are going to get a downgrade.
Yeah, Kamara, I'm actually trying to trade him right now. I'm in the one league I have him. I've literally pulled up every single team in the league on a different tab. I'm going to the team, hitting create trade, and sending out an offer.
Yeah, Kamara, I think gets downgraded to a low 1, high 2.
That's right. I would have him probably.
And it's sad to say that he went from elite to possibly down in that range of, I'm trying to think of like a player like Le'Veon Bell. He's probably down in that Le'Veon Bell area for points. Yeah, possibly even lower. So, what do you think about Thomas? Thomas's value, we know that Bridgewater's still
a little hit. He takes a little hit. I just feel
Bridgewater's accuracy is going to miss him, but he's still going to get the targets. So you have to kind of he's not going to have that almost 90% catch rate. He's going to drop down to a healthy, probably 60, 50% of the targets are going to be caught, and that's going to hurt his yardage. Also, deep balls. I'm not sure how he's going to do with the deep ball. Usually a new backup that comes in at quarterback isn't throwing those deep balls right away. So it's going to be interesting. Those are the two pieces that I'm thinking of. Is there anything else that you wanted to touch on? I know maybe Jared Cook.
Jared Cook could definitely be a safety blanket.
Yeah.
His value could actually go up a little bit. Michael Thomas takes the smallest hit because he's the type of receiver that I think any quarterback can step in and just use a guy like Michael Thomas, so he should be fine. Obviously, the connection between Breeze and Thomas is a little bit different than it would be between like Bridgewater or Hill and Thomas, but a guy like Thomas is he's a possession receiver. He finds his ways to get open. Big body receiver, go on the slant, cover, just jump in front of the DB, box him out, catch the ball. That's kind of what Michael Thomas is, so I don't see him taking a huge hit.
Okay, yeah, I also believe it. And then next we have on the list is another big-time quarterback. This one is going to be out for the season. We have Big Ben Roethlisberger on his right elbow. He's going to have surgery, and he's done. Rudolph is in, and I think this is a bigger bump that you give to the offense compared to Teddy, in my mind. Juju, you have Juju in many of your leagues, and we talked about Juju as being possibly one of them top wide receivers. What is your thoughts on Juju now?
I still want to say he's a low 1. I would hold him. If I had James Conner, I'd trade him, but Juju, I think he's a hold for now. You have to see what he does with Rudolph. I know there's all this talk about James Washington and the connection, and you can't ignore that, but Juju is literally the most talented receiver they have. So you have to see what he does with him. I'd say give it like 2 games, and then if he's not doing anything, then you know what, maybe cut your losses and just go for someone on his level.
Yeah,
if you're that worried.
And like I was talking to you today, I mean, Juju, to me, we were all questioning it going in with Big Ben on seeing those number 1 cornerbacks and what do we think is going to happen with Juju. And now he's given a backup quarterback, and he is also the number 1 on his team. I think he's going to get the targets. It's just a problem of how good are those targets going to be. And I think Juju gets bumped down almost to a high 2. I mean, the volume is going to be there. But I don't think you can sell him unless you wanted to sell him on a high right now and try to get whatever money you can for him. I'm afraid that in the future, he's going to be worth like a Tyler Boyd type of value. So moving on to the running back, James Conner is he's injured now, and we're going to talk about him next. But you're talking about a safety blanket running back who can catch the ball. And Jalen Samuels, we're going to talk about him when it comes to handcuffs on running back. He's also somebody that if you can catch the ball out of the backfield and you're with a backup running back, you're going to get those screens, you're going to get those points. It's only going to help out closer to the line of scrimmage compared to further away. So Vance McDonald, I still think that he, just like in the Teddy Bridgewater, he's going to get some play. But a number 2, I just went out and picked up James Washington just because of the connection he has with Rudolph. And just to take that shot, maybe all of a sudden he comes in as on the other side of Juju, and he's going to get more targets or equal
It's definitely
targets.
worth the shot, though. I like what you did there. I mean, I went and looked and saw who had him. I saw you had him. I'm like, well, there's no point of even trying to get him. I already knew that that's what you were thinking, and you already knew about all that. So, good shit. I guess you could say. Yeah, I just knew I wasn't going. I couldn't get him from you, so I didn't even attempt.
Yeah, and I guess we'll see. It's somebody you pick up and you check that first game. If it's nothing or it's underwhelming, you can just drop him. He's probably going to be free when it comes to your waiver wire, so keep an eye out for him when you're listening to this. Getting on to our number 3, we're going to talk about Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold is going to be missing until week 5 as his return plan. He's out. Yeah, out with mono. We just saw Simeon get injured yesterday, and it looked pretty gross, but he was able to walk it off. And I mean,
how did he walk off with that? He's out for the year, though. He
He
tore
is.
ligaments and needs surgery, and he just walked off like a boss. I give him credit.
I mean, maybe he was just the adrenaline was going, and he was so pissed that he's walked it off. Just said screw it.
He definitely had. I mean, he was full of adrenaline. That's for sure.
So I mean, what do you
feel
say?
bad for him.
Le'Veon Bell is he's the surprise. I wanted to kind of bring him up as my my surprise player for this year, just because of these last 2 weeks, the volume. He's actually producing fantasy points, even if he only has like 2 to 3 yards a carry as an average. He's getting the volume to where it matters it doesn't matter that he's getting that average carry. So I don't know. Le'Veon Bell doesn't get hit too hard. They might stack the box a little bit more. They might blitz a little bit more with the third string in. But the wide receivers, until Darnold comes back, I don't really see the wide receivers as anyone I want to start. Is there anybody you're thinking of, like a Robbie Anderson, that
I wouldn't
throw a
start
shot at?
Anderson. No, maybe.
I mean,
maybe
let's tell.
Crowder. Maybe I don't even think you can start him in your flex. Maybe he had 8 points this game, and you think he might. I mean, he's the PPR guy. He's the guy that be going across the middle and kind of the safety blanket type. So I could see him having a slight value, but I wouldn't play anyone on that team except Le'Veon Bell because it looks like the offense is strictly going through him.
And then let me just say a sneaky pickup. After waivers and you're listening to this, check and see if Herndon is available in your league. Yep. He's going to be coming back, and the way tight ends are looking this year and kind of how some tight ends that were in that 5 to 10 range are cropping up, Herndon could be a sneaky pickup if you were holding on to like a Hunter Henry who got hurt and now you're just trying to scramble. You didn't get Waller. You don't have anybody backing him up. Hawkinson is gone. Look at Herndon. Pick him up. Stash him on your bench. You possibly have what you would say, top 6 tight end.
It could be.
So,
with Darnold, sure.
So
they have a really nice connection. So if Darnold's back, and that's when Herndon will come back because they have a bye, and then he's still suspended 4 games. So week 5, 6 would be his comeback, and that's about when Darnold would be back. So I could see that connection just taking off.
Yeah,
I mean, especially with the tight end landscape here, it's not the greatest.
Well, and
same
then
as last year, and then like if you don't have one of the top tight ends, you're kind of still you're struggling.
No, it's definitely true, and you're kind of just on the waiver wire picking up these old guys. And I wanted to go to this next news article talking about a tight end, OJ Howard. Arians was saying the ball will come is kind of his statement to the press.
Buy him now.
OJ Howard is almost free. We've seen him go for free in our league in trades.
He got traded in our Dynasty League, Tyler, and I don't know if you saw it. Did you see it?
I didn't. What was the trade?
So Sam and Jordan,
I did see that one. Okay.
Jordan he traded John Ross for OJ Howard. Come on. I'm like, there's picks involved, right? He goes, nope. I'm like, you kidding me? You kidding me? Oh,
so
man.
OJ
Like,
Howard is free right now.
So
free.
high, buy low. I'm like, okay, whatever, dude.
And you want to know what this is? And this is everything to do with the Tampa Bay offense. The first 2 weeks, they haven't looked good, but they have good matchups to come. And I only see them throwing the ball and having a little bit more reception totals on their offense for Mike Evans. Godwin is killing it. And OJ Howard. OJ Howard and Mike Evans are going to have upside when it comes to later in the season. I see better matchups where they're going to go off. And you're getting kind of these low totals. So it's scaring people, and the offense is scaring people. I mean, I just went out and picked up off free agency Jameis Winston because I have a feeling that I could play him in spots where the offense is going to produce huge points. So moving on then, is there anything else you want to talk about OJ Howard, Ryan, before we move on to...
The only thing I got on OJ is to buy him, especially with how the tight ends are right now. Buy him.
Yeah, and you can get him for cheap off a bench player.
Don't give up a whole bunch of stuff. When I'm saying buy him, trade some bench players and see if you can scoop them up. There's going to be people in your league. Well, not every league.
But yeah, you test the water anyway.
Yeah, test the water. See what's going on there. Give it a shot.
Next one is going to be a wide receiver. Deshaun Jackson has an abdominal strain and is expected to be on the sideline for 2 weeks. And you're talking about a guy that looked stellar week 1. Week 2, he came up and put out a dud. And now he's injured. It's interesting. He's an older guy. These injuries are kind of going to linger around for the season. We don't have to touch too long on Deshaun Jackson. We know he's kind of a flex play in most leagues to where you're going for that boom. And I think he's somebody that you could possibly still hang on to on your bench, and don't drop him right away. See what the news is coming out.
Well, they said 2 weeks.
Yeah, in 2 weeks with an abdominal, you just want to see if he's.
That guy's always hurt, man. He just is. You can't just drop him, in my opinion, because Wentz and him have a nice connection. So hold him unless you have to drop him. If at that point, I would try to trade him in like a 2-for-1 to open up a bench spot. That's the thing, though. Like when you ever need to get in player, or if you never want to drop someone that has value, you always throw them in a trade as a 2-for-1. That's my suggestion.
Yeah, 100%.
To be able to at least upgrade that first player potentially, and still open that slot to grab a guy that you need.
Yeah, always send the trades out first.
Exactly.
Okay, moving on to the next one. Quarterback Cam Newton. He had a foot injury Thursday night. Eric Reed told reporters Cam is in a boot. Someone in a boot that's not going to be good. I have a feeling he'll probably miss a game. They're going to try and get him healthy. They don't want to rush him. And now DJ Moore, Curtis Samuel, CMC. It's looking a little bit rough when they put in a backup quarterback. But then again, Cam Newton wasn't the greatest at throwing passes. He was just good at targeting wide receivers. But he just got to get the ball into their hands. So Cam Newton being out, I wouldn't play him. I know a lot of people didn't play him last week. You kind of have to just play it safe and keep him on your bench. And then the players that come along with Cam Newton, I almost would bench DJ Moore and Curtis Samuel.
I think you have to. That's tough, man. Luckily I just traded both of them. For some reason I ended up getting both of them at separate points in this week here, and I traded them both away. So I kind of dodged the bullet on that, I feel.
Yeah, 100%.
And if I had them in any other leagues, which I do not, I think at this point it's kind of lucky I don't, because this week or this injury might be a multi-week, and I just don't. You'd have no idea what they're gonna be right now. So if you're 2-0, go ahead, leave DJ Moore in or Samuel. But if you're 1-1 or 0-2, I would suggest not using them.
Yeah, and there's some good wide receivers on the that you could have got on waivers last week, and then also going into this week. If you are in this situation where Cam came up hurt, I would throw a couple waivers out, put a little bit more money on some of these players that are possibly
Marcus
able to
Robinson.
Yes.
Debo Samuel would be my number one guy. Like Debo Samuel, he can be started next week.
Yeah. So there's people out there that I would put over Curtis Samuel. DJ Moore, I think they're equal when it comes to targets, and you're just kind of flipping a coin.
DJ Moore is definitely the more talented player, I think. He was drafted above Calvin Ridley. So in like the real NFL draft. So he's a very talented receiver, so maybe he'll be targeted. This guy has to throw it to somebody. So yeah, but that's the thing. That's why I'm saying wait and see, because you don't want to take that chance right now, and his favorite target is Greg Olsen, or it's Samuel and it's not DJ Moore, and vice versa.
Yeah, exactly. So let's move on to our next one. It's not going to be too important, but it seems like Daniel Jones is going to get the start for the Giants. And kind of just a first thing I thought of when it came to the Giants was that Golden Tate's also coming back. So if you're sitting out there, look on your free agency. Golden Tate might be sitting on free agency right now that you could grab him and just stash him on your bench. He's always been a great targeted.
Should be a
wide
target
receiver.
hog, and I want him to come back because it should relieve some stress off Evan Ingram over here because he's the only guy in the team, so they're putting like all 11 guys guard Evan Ingram, and he's kind of screwed. So
Yeah.
I need some help there.
Well, and it's like we talk about with the Steelers. It's like we talk about for the Jets. It's like we talk about for the Saints. A lot of these tight ends are going to get a bump, at least for 1 week, to see what they have. But I'm going to bump each of them up in their tight end game because of the backup quarterback and because of a new quarterback coming in that they almost always see a couple more targets a game. And also the running backs always seem to get a few more targets per game. It
So
really
the
doesn't
two
matter.
best players on the Giants should benefit.
Exactly.
Barkley and Evan Ingram.
Okay, so then lastly, I just wanted to touch on James Conner. They said that his knee injury is not serious, but it is scary to think that your starting running back has pain or had pain in his knee. And that's what I wanted to say. I wanted to say if you had him and you could sell him for his value still, do it. Because to me, I own Jalen Samuel on my bench, and this news is more happy for me because I'm like, I know he's injury
What about
prone.
Dynasty, Tyler? You
I
got
do
him
have
in
Jalen.
Dynasty.
Oh yeah, I have Connor in Dynasty, and Ryan has.
I got
you have James
Jalen.
Conner or
I'll
Jalen
trade you
Samuels.
Jalen Samuels.
Yeah, we
Send me a
already.
draft pick, man.
Hey,
That's all you gotta
and I
do.
have
Throw me a second
Darwin.
rounder.
I have
I'll do it.
Darwin.
Ooh. All right. I'll
That was
Samuels
the-
for Darwin in a second.
Oh, now that's what it is. Okay. All right, that'll do it for the news. Ryan, you had any news that you
I got
wanted to
one.
touch
Yeah,
on?
this is huge. How are you gonna skip this one, man?
I might have missed
Lions release C.J. Anderson.
it. Oh, huge.
They claim Paul Perkins from the Giants. This dude's garbage. So don't worry about it. I just feel like they're gonna unleash carry on. It's time. The sneaky name out of all this, Ty Johnson. So if you're out there in 12-man leagues is still kind of pushing it. Unless you're really, really shallow at RB, Ty Johnson in a 12-man, sure, pick him up. 14-man, 16-man leagues, make sure you get Ty Johnson on your bench. No one's going to even – I don't think anyone's even going to pick him up. But I would suggest grabbing him for free.
And you want to know what? The Lions' backfield has always been owning two guys. I feel like whether it was Riddick, I mean, now it's Kerryon Johnson and the other Johnson. But
Yep. Ty Johnson, a 6th-round pick. He got usage last week. I think he had 5 or 6 fantasy points last week, and he looked decent. Actually, looked pretty damn good in preseason. And I think that's why they did it, because they like what they have there. So it's going to be Kerryon, probably a 70-30, but Ty Johnson's going to get some work.
yeah, so good name to keep out. And hey, what if Kerryon gets hurt and Ty Johnson look good? You're talking about another backup that we can put in our handcuffs that you might want to hang on to. If you have Kerryon, of course you want to look out for him. You want to add him just in case. So that'll do it for the news then, and we're going to jump right into our questions. We're kind of just picking questions right off of the Fantasy Football Q&A and Sleeper. We want to answer as many as we can. Let me see how much time we have left. We got about 10 minutes left, so we're going to cruise through. I have about 7. I know you have one also that you're going to add in, Ryan. And let's get it started. Our first question is, and a lot of questions involving Davante Adams. You're going to catch a lot of people that are still a little bit on tilt, don't know what to think about Davante Adams. He had a decent game last game, but Davante Adams and Chris Carson for Zeke and Keenan Allen. And what's your initial thoughts when you look at a trade like this? Two big time players, and then even two high up, low ones, high twos.
Carson, after his first game, looked great. Second game, he literally took 5 steps backwards. So, as much as I love Davante Adams, and he's my number 1 receiver, I'm taking Zeke and Allen right here, and I don't think this is even up for debate. So, I don't know what your take is on it. Zeke, obviously, I think this is the perfect game coming up for Zeke right now against the Dolphins. I think he's going to eat. They're going to feed him. They're going to use this game to get him in game shape, and this is the start of it all for him. Keenan Allen, he's been dominant. He's been dominant the first 2 games. You take this deal and run. I feel like the Carson Penny situation over there is probably going to get closer to a 60-40 Carson split. You take this deal right now.
Yeah, and you want to know what? Keenan Allen is possibly up there now with the injuries to the Chargers offense. I mean, Hunter Henry going down, Mike Williams not feeling
He's gonna
good,
get peppered.
Melvin Gordon.
He has been getting.
Peppered. That if the draft was today, he would be ahead of quite a few guys. Yeah, he would be an early second.
He would have been. I mean, I would still take Mike Evans over him, as bold as it is.
That's true.
I would still want Mike Evans over Allen, but that's the cutoff right there. It would be Keenan Allen would be right after him, and that would be mid to late second round. I feel.
Okay, yeah, you're right. Mike Evans was going late second, so whenever he went, he would go right after. So he'd be right before Antonio Brown.
I mean, is that where you have him, or would you have Allen over Evans?
I mean, the way things are trending right now, Allen
let's put it this way, Tyler. Let's put it this way. This is off the top of my head here. This question, we'll just say, someone offered you right now, Keenan Allen for your Mike Evans. What do you do?
Oof. For me,
tough,
I would keep Mike Evans. So I guess that answers that question. Same. And for this deal,
as it sounds.
I know exactly with the point totals that we've seen.
Yep.
I still believe in Mike Evans to finish as a top 10. So
me too.
Zeke and Allen is my choice, just because of Chris Carson being in there. His last game, he fumbled twice, costly. And Devontae Adams, I mean, Adams is good. Rodgers kind of looks like he's almost taking a step back, almost like he's injured. He's.
You know what I said when I was talking today to people about Aaron Rodgers? And this, I don't know if this makes sense to you, but it made sense to me. That's why I mentioned it. So Aaron Rodgers is like he's a game manager, but like the top-notch game manager. That's what he is, I feel. He's not that superstar,
he's
number one overall, MVP, nothing like that. He's your game manager, but he's like the best of the best game manager. It's just hard to explain it, but that's like how the best way to say it.
I mean, when he was dominant, he was the game manager plus Patrick Mahomes. Now I think he's dropped to, like you're saying, very good at he's calm.
He's not going to turn the ball over, and he's going to use that defense. So it's a dangerous team, but it's just not that spectacular A-Rod anymore. And I do feel like part of it is because the offense. There's not much talent on offense in Green Bay. Whether you say it or not, I just don't believe it. It's Devontae Adams and then Aaron Jones. Like, that's it. And Devontae Adams ain't going to catch a ball and go 80 yards. They don't have anyone like that.
Yeah,
I mean, MVS, his hands are not that great. I mean, he's fast and big, but like he's not that special. He's not that kind of guy. Like Greg Jennings, we had Greg Jennings, Jordy Nelson. We always had guys that could catch the ball, make a cut, and they're gone. We don't have anyone like that.
No, and it's kind of just misfits after Devontae Adams, and I still remember when Devontae Adams was those guys, though. You remember when Devontae Adams was the Geronimo Allison, the MVS of the team? And now he's taken that step forward, but it's possible that Rodgers had bolstered him up just like he did Jennings. Donald Driver was always great, but they've always had good quarterbacks.
Devontae Adams is probably the most talented receiver we've had in a very long time in talent in general. And he can go on any team and be this good. I mean, look what he did with Brett Hundley. He was a wide receiver one there. It's his release and his footwork is it's like unmatched, I feel. He doesn't have straight line speed. He's not going to jump over you and catch him. He's not that kind of guy.
Yeah, I would agree. And so for this trade, then we would unfortunately be trading away Devontae Adams, but on the argument that we just made, because we think Zeke is going to be that man all year round.
This is his game.
He's going into a game where he's going to destroy. So you possibly could trade him up after this game.
3 touchdowns Zeke this week.
Yeah, would you play him DFS? He's probably just super expensive.
I'm taking him in DFS this week.
All right. We gotta move on to the next trade. Sammy Watkins is going to be a hot topic too. A lot of people might be tilting off of him after that last game. Robinson went off.
I was never on him, dude. That's the thing, man. Like, elite wide receiver one. No, he's been inconsistent his whole career.
Yeah, you can't let one game change that because he almost went for 200.
Mm-hmm.
So Watkins and Connor for Nick Chubb, and it's a very interesting one because you have this.
Sounds?
Yeah, let me know.
I don't know what you're gonna do, but I'm doing that trade. I'll get Chubb out of this. I just think Connor, right? Best case scenario for James Conner, in my opinion, and I wasn't even high on this guy to begin with. I said he was the most overdrafted player in the first, second round, and I think his upside is like mid RB2, sadly.
And is that with him being healthy, or would you say
healthy? With him being healthy, plus he has those injury concerns, though. That's the thing. Like, I'm taking Nick Chubb. He's an RB1.
Okay.
He's gonna finish this one too.
Well, and you want to know what? During the season, I did trade Chubb for Connor, and I would have rather had a healthy Connor over a healthy Chubb at the time. But after what we've known for his knee, and now Watkins being the player that we always thought he was, you got Watkins pretty late in the draft.
That's what I'm saying. You
were
probably got
given
him.
a
You got him
gift.
late.
So if
why
it
not
was
take advantage?
exactly, if it was me, I mean, now you're kind of selling Connor a little bit lower because of the injury. You still go for a healthy Chubb over those two players, and I'm guessing your wide receivers are okay, seeing as it is Watkins that you got later in the draft. So that's my answer too. I would go for get Chubb, lock down that running back, and then you don't have to sweat it every time you see Connor take a handoff up the middle.
Yep. He's your locked in RB1, and your receivers probably won't take that big of a hit because, like Tyler, you just said that you drafted this guy, what, 8th round? So he's not even your wide receiver 3, probably.
Yeah, and you were playing him as a 1, and now you're trying to sell him as a low 1, high 2, and then you have Connor that you're also trying to sell as a low 1, high 2. I mean, you could even possibly go for somebody higher than Chubb if you can get the right person.
Oh, for sure. With that package, Tyler, that's a great point. With that package right there, I'd probably shoot a little higher than Chubb. But for this trade that was asked, I would do it.
Yeah, this would probably be almost the cutoff point. Everyone below Chubb, I think Chubb is like the last person that would do it. And I would look Chubb
see if you
up.
can get Dalvin Cook for this.
Yeah, see, that's the first name that came into my head.
Cook,
but Dalvin Cook owners are probably just riding that.
They're riding high. They're not. I think he's like the most untradeable guy right now.
He is. I have him on my other league, and we're just dominating. Let's move on to the next one. Then I had another Devontae Adams one, but I'm gonna pass it up. We're gonna go to: would you trade Joe Mixon for McLaren?
All right, let's stop right here. Let's stop right here.
We're talking about Terry McLaurin.
Football. No, hold on. Fantasy football is about taking chances. I love trading, and you might think I just trade to trade, whatever. That's not what it is. You gotta realize, like, yes, I get it. This is a perfect example where you do not take your draft capital where you took Mixon. I'm taking McLaren in this deal. Mixon has looked like absolute garbage. His O-line is horrible. And even with AJ Green and them coming back, I don't think it changes the run game much at all. Like, he just doesn't have anywhere to go. They're going to be a passing team all year. Terry McLaurin, I haven't even talked this guy up like crazy. He's not amazing, but he's going to get you points every week. He's the number 1 receiver on the Redskins, who are going to be losing damn near every game. So they're going to be playing in catch-up mode. Case Keenum loves Terry McLaurin. And if Case Keenum got benched, Dwayne Haskins would step in, and guess what? They played together at Ohio State, and that was his number 1 receiver. So he would just jump right in, and he wouldn't lose. He wouldn't skip a beat. So Terry McLaurin, in your lineup every week as probably a flex player. You could throw him in your wide receivers, and he's just going to get you steady points. He's not going to blow up for like 30 plus. I mean, potentially maybe one time, but he's a guy that's going to be in between. I say his floor is 8. Like, that's where it should be.
I mean, and you look at his last couple of games. His week 1, he went for 125 yards on 5 receptions and a touchdown. That's a 23-point game. And then you look at his week 2, 5 receptions and the targets are a big thing. 7 targets and then 9 targets, and he had 5 receptions.
You gotta remember,
62 yards
in
and
Dallas,
a touchdown.
though, Tyler, he went up against Byron Jones. That's a top corner in the league, and he did that.
Yeah, and he's
you
going
can
up
say
against
garbage
Chicago
time
too.
or whatever, but they're going to be in garbage time all year. It doesn't matter. It's about fantasy points.
Yeah, exactly. We play for that garbage time. That garbage time is what saves us a lot of the time.
Is like very important, honestly.
I think the biggest people that always get garbage time is Atlanta. The Atlanta Falcons, to me, always seem like that team that was like the garbage team. Because I remember all those receiving yards always came at the second half.
Yep.
Okay, so Terry McLaurin, kind of an interesting name. A lot of people don't even know about him. Wide receiver, Washington Redskins. If you have to look him up, check your waiver wire. Possibly somebody that is sitting there and people are a little bit scared to pick him up because he's a guy from Washington. Nobody wants a Washington wide receiver, so
no one wants any of that offense besides him.
yes. Yep.
So let's move on to our last 2. We got.
Well, speak of the devil, though, I got one for you. I mean, here's one right here.
Yeah.
It's the same guy. McLaurin's in this. Josh Gordon or Terry McLaurin. What do you got? What side? I want to hear your take.
All right, so I have Josh Gordon in the league, and if someone offered me this right now, I would probably take it. I know that it took a little bit of convincing because I like Josh Gordon on a high tempo offense compared to that Redskins offense, but he looks good. The road looks good for that garbage time, and Josh Gordon is now losing it to Brown. If Brown's playing, I'm very scared for Josh Gordon. He's in my flex right now, and if Brown leaves, if he has suspended or the team moves away from him because of these allegations, then I'm very happy with Josh Gordon, and I might just keep Josh Gordon over him. But if the trade came today, I would take McLaren for over Josh Gordon, and you take that high potential targeted wide receiver in my flex over somebody who's possibly a 3 reception, 3 targeted guy. So
I would as well. I would also take Terry McLaurin in this trade. And it sounds like I'm backing Terry McLaurin and he's like a must own and must have. That's not the case. It's just in these two situations, I'm taking McLaurin, which is crazy. Like McLaurin over Mixon, that's insane, but I would do it.
All right, let's quick talk about if you have the number 1 waiver. Let's say you have the number 1 waiver on your team going into each week. What are you thinking? What changes in your mind now that you own the number 1 waiver? And when do you spend that? When is a good time to spend your number 1 waiver pickup? Is it this week? Was it last week? Or are you still holding, Ryan?
That's crazy because if this question is asked, that means people hung on to their number 1 priority. And if you did, I applaud you because I don't think, like we mentioned earlier, there hasn't been any game changers. There's been guys for sure that are good and that can be really good, but there hasn't been that dominant player.
Yeah.
And if you still have that number 1 waiver priority, this isn't the week to use it either. You just gotta hang on to it.
Yeah, if you can
unless you're really hurting. If you're 0-2, I feel like you might have to use it because there's gonna be guys that can help your team right.
Yeah, and you want to know what too? Another hard part is the number 1 waiver is usually used on a backup running back that the original running back got hurt, like a Kamara when he went down, and then last year when Damian Williams came in, and you use your number 1 waiver priority because you know that Kareem Hunt was a workhorse. Damian Williams came in and he's gonna win you your league. Kamara came in, he's gonna win you your league. That's a number 1 waiver type of pickup. But nowadays, and like we're going to touch on our handcuffs, there's a lot of handcuffs that are already going to be owned on a lot of benches. Yep. So,
well, here's an example of that, Tyler. If James Conner was hurt, sounds like the injury is not significant, that number 1 waiver claim would be used on Jalen Samuels this week.
Yes.
Yeah. With James Conner sounding like he's going to be okay and maybe miss the next game, I don't think it's worth it.
Yeah, if it's in question, because the number 1 waiver...
Unless you are the Connor owner, then you will have to get Jalen Samuels. And I don't know why you wouldn't have him anyways,
yes.
But you have to go get him. I just felt like James Conner is an injury-prone player to me. I know it hasn't been proven over time, but last year he got hurt, and it just kind of stuck with me. So I would, if I had him, that's who I would be getting, Jalen Samuels. And if you don't have him, you don't have to waste a waiver claim on him. It's not a bad guy to have, though.
Yeah, and let's just kind of we'll mesh these two together. So the other question was going to be your biggest handcuffs, for your running backs. Let's say that Alexander Madison is out there, and look at the production Dalvin Cook is putting up. And Madison, every time they put him in, he looks fantastic as well.
Yes, he does.
So you're talking about a guy that if he's on your waivers, I already would say to put him on a team right now. But if he's on your waivers and Dalvin Cook gets hurt, that's an automatic waiver 1 pickup. So
10-man league and up, Alexander Madison should be owned. He's just that dominant. I feel like if Dalvin Cook went down, immediate RB1, those guys probably should be owned. Like, you don't want to be fighting and just hope and pray you have the number 1 waiver priority for when he becomes a viable option.
Yeah.
Have him now.
And I know a lot of, like me and Ryan, we talk a lot about waiver wire pickups for running backs. I think running back is the biggest thing to use your waiver 1 on when the starter gets hurt. But there does come a time where maybe a starter in your offense, your wide receiver gets hurt, and there's a Terry McLaurin out there, and he possibly is the biggest pickup. I mean, you're almost forced to use your waiver 1 to pick him up just to help your wide receiver core. So we're not saying that don't just wait for a running back. I mean, look at George Kittle last year. He was a waiver 1 type of tight end to use it on, and it worked out for some people. So And like last week, a lot of people probably thought Waller and Hawkinson 2 weeks ago. Waller and
Waller.
Hawkinson were.
I'll take Waller over Hawkinson right now, but they're both going to be. I still feel they'll both be pretty solid. Hawkinson's going to be a little inconsistent.
Yeah.
Waller's the dude to have. He'll be top 5.
So let's run through. So we're big on these running back handcuffs. We're just going to quick run through them and kind of say who should be on a team and who shouldn't. I'm actually just going to go through each one that makes sense. So David Johnson just had that wrist injury. He's going to be playing still. But Chase Edmonds, you think he should be on a bench right now, Ryan, or you think that free agency and just keep an eye on him?
Okay. Yeah, just free agency right now.
And then we'll just keep an eye on DJ. Moving to Justice Hill. You have Justice Hill on your team. What are your thoughts with Mark Ingram running the ball there?
Looks like they're not using Justice Hill at all. I'll just keep him for a couple more weeks just to see what happens. You never know. He is a dominant handcuff. If Ingram goes down, Justice Hill, immediate RB2 with upside.
Yeah.
And Ingram, you have to kind of like hope on an Ingram injury, which you don't want to hope on any injuries, but like that's what you have to happen. You never know. He might get put in the game plan in the next couple weeks. So I would hold for at least 2 more weeks on Justice Hill.
Yeah.
Before you throw him in free agency.
I mean, it's a bummer that you have to hold on to him, but it's somebody that you don't want to see on free agency.
Roster spot on a handful of teams, Tyler, and I have contemplated dropping him, but.
All right, let's switch over to the Bengals. So we talked about them. Joe Mixon being very inconsistent, minimal production. Giovanni Bernard, do you think he is somebody that should be on a bench? And then also, is he somebody that could produce for that team if Joe Mixon were to go down? Is he a different back compared to Mixon?
For sure. He's proven already that he is trending in RB1 territory if Mixon misses games. I think Gio Bernard should be owned. He's not like a dominant player. He could find standalone value here and there.
Yeah, and the weird thing about Bernard, the weird thing about Bernard is that he has more fantasy production, I feel like, than Mixon whenever he's like the full-blown starter.
I'm talking right now on the season. I'm pretty sure Gio has more points. It's got to be close. Like, Mixon is horrible this year.
Okay, I thought I could bring it up, but I didn't have it with me. Okay, so then the next one, somebody that should be owned, Jamal Williams. Aaron Jones has also been a injury-prone type of guy. So
yeah. So I don't think he should be owned. He's not like an Alexander Madison must be owned.
Yeah,
he's a guy to keep an eye on. This is a handcuff that we're going over handcuffs. Jamal Williams, if Aaron Jones were to get hurt and miss a handful of games, he definitely is fantasy relevant.
Yeah. He's not going to be
the stretch. He was on a couple. He had to have been on a couple championship teams. He went last year down the stretch. He was pretty damn good.
Yeah, I had him on one of mine, and he does produce an RB2 numbers, and he's not the Aaron Jones that's going to just slam the point values and win you a week. But when you have the number 1 on Green Bay, Jamal Williams definitely produced good numbers to somebody that you just picked up using your waiver 1 claim. Somebody like
Tyler,
that.
I got some news for you. So Joe Mixon, 9.4 fantasy points in PPR. 17 attempts, 27 yards in 2 games. Congratulations. Gio Bernard has 10 points. So Gio Bernard has outscored Joe Mixon, the second-round pick.
I mean, I was telling everybody during draft time, I'm not a Joe Mixon fan, and I never was. So
that's true. You were dogging. I was kind of on the boat early, but as soon as I think it was Jonah Williams, their rookie, dominant offensive lineman, was out for the year, that's kind of where I jumped off.
All right,
I didn't even use my floaties. I just jumped right in.
Oh man! All right, we're getting kind of far in our time. We're pretty bad at this, but we'll get used to it. I'm just gonna run through the last of what I think. So Justin Jackson, Malcolm Brown, Alexander Madison.
Brown Jackson on your bench, I feel.
Yep, Madison on your bench.
Yep.
Latavius Murray. What do you think now?
I don't know. That's a tough one. I would say he should be owned right now, anyways.
Yeah.
So hold Darwin Thompson.
It is rough. Darwin Thompson, of course,
and that
should be owned. Jalen Samuels, we talked about. What do you think? Rashad Penny is he almost?
Rashad Penny should be owned. He shouldn't be on anyone's waiver wire at all.
No.
If he is, grab him. He's working himself into a role here. I mean, Carson just fumbled 2 times, and it looks like I said. I think it's going to be a 60-40 Carson split.
Yeah, I was gonna say he could almost take that 50-50 now that Carson's taken a few steps back. So
I don't know if it'd be 50-50. They love Carson, but
They
I
do.
like 60-40 I can see. And that's still going to be valuable for Penny because that's a run first team.
I think that Kalen Balaj lost a little bit of steam. The Miami
Don't
Dolphins.
touch Kalen Balaj. Even if Drake gets traded, everyone, he's the only guy. It's still literally not worth it. That guy's garbage.
Dude, no. So, yeah, that's our biggest ones. Like we talked about, Darwin, because of the injuries to McCoy and Williams, are looking a little bit banged up. Jordan Wilkins on Marlon Mack, you're not.
No,
if Wilkins goes in, it's not even. Yeah, so those are our biggest ones. If there's anybody that you believe should be up there, definitely leave a comment. And then also, whatever you're listening to, rate, comment, and subscribe. We definitely appreciate it. The more we get, the more it pushes us to do more, to talk about more. We definitely want to talk about the matchups coming up this upcoming week. So keep an eye on all that for your Thursday game. Make sure that you get your guys out of the flex position and into your lineup, just in case something does happen. You have that extra versatility. And everyone have a great night. If you're listening to this on Thursday, good luck with your team. And we're going to talk about trades and waiver wire pickups that are possibly still sitting there coming up later in the week. So appreciate it and have a great night.